His name is Howard Irish Jr. He was named for his father. And when he was born, my mother wanted to name him John Alfred, and my dad wanted to name him Howard Irish Jr. So they named him Howard, but they called him Jack. So he's known by Jack by the immediate family and some of his very close friends, but to the rest of the world he's Howard. So that was an interesting note. The name of the book is Searching for Friday's Child. There's a little verse that probably people have heard time and again. Monday's child is fair of face, Tuesday's child is filled with grace, and it goes down to Friday's child is loving and giving. And I felt he had given it all. And it was appropriate to call it Searching for Friday's Child. This story is about my brother, who was a prisoner of war of the Japanese during World War II. What started me to write it was some of the survivors from the freighter on which he was, that was sunk, there were survivors, 83 survivors, and 3 of them wrote an article for Collier's magazine. And they entitled it, "We Live to Tell." And after I'd gone through all the things my mother saved through the years, and I saw that, it dawned on me why I was filing them away in folders with by the year, because he hadn't lived to tell the story, so I had to tell it. So that's why I wrote the book, so that people would know his story. He graduated from Michigan State, which is now Michigan State University, and he was in the ROTC program there. And he had graduated in 1940 and had a job, and was called for active duty and went to Fort Sheridan near Chicago. And he was only there from May until August, and then he was ordered to the Philippine Islands. So in August, my mother and dad and I drove him out to California to take the ship to go to the Philippines. And he was stationed on Corregidor in Manila Bay at first, and then was moved to Subic Bay, which is a bit north on the peninsula. And he was in Subic Bay at the time of December 7th, 1941. But he was on Luzon, and then when they were backed up and backed up and backed up, they had to cross over to Corregidor, and that's where he was when he was taken prisoner. But I think it's an important thing that at that time President Roosevelt decided that he was going to concentrate on the war in Europe, so that when December 7th happened, all of the things that were happening in the Philippine Islands and in any of the other places in the Pacific were just secondary altogether. And it's hard to not be a little bit bitter about that, but he wasn't. They were there. They realized that they were expecting help all the time. They were expecting, and just didn't come. He was taken prisoner, and he was at Cabanatuan, which is there on the Luzon Peninsula. And then they decided to move them down to Davao Penal Colony, which is on the southernmost island of the Philippines, Mindanao. And the Japanese just took over a Filipino prison and made it a prisoner of war camp for I guess they released all the Filipinos, and then they had all these other prisoners there, and they worked in the rice paddies. And then they were moved a short distance away to work on an airstrip called Lazang. And it was from there that about this time, MacArthur was coming back to the Philippines, and the Japanese decided they'd better get these prisoners out of the way, so they loaded them all in the freighter, and they were headed up. They had gone around the southernmost projection there, and it was Zamboanga, I believe, and they were in convoy, and the United States Navy was there, and the submarine USS Paddle, and there were no markings on that prisoner of war ship. There were supposed to be, but there were none. And they torpedoed it. The United States Navy torpedoed this ship with over 700 men in the hold. So that's how it happened. They had a number of those freighters that the Japanese sunk, and the Americans and the British called them hell ships, which is what they were. They were all praying for a direct hit because they had no clothes on, and they were all there together in the bottom of this hole, perspiring, no air. Once in a while they'd open the hatch, just once in a while. Well, it gave me purpose, and I met a lot of people that I would never in the world have known before. I learned about my brother. I learned I could be very proud of him. And then the publication has resulted in things like this today, this interview, and speaking to people and selling the book, and just having, well, a number of the people that bought the book have written to me and contacted me, and some of them I had not known before at all. So it has made a difference in my life. I wish that my parents knew that I had done it. Of course, they're gone, both of them now. The four of us were close, all four of us, my mother and dad and my brother and I. And he was so good. He wrote letters and kept in touch with my parents and did things for them. He was a very thoughtful boy. And of course I tried to fill the gap for them, but well, there's no way to do that. You think you'd like to, but there's no way to do it. Well, I think that they might be more aware of the blessings of their lives and what a wonderful place the United States of America is, and that we're all free to do what we would like to do. And it should make them realize what our service people do, what they're doing for us. And some don't pay any attention at all. They don't understand that we need these boys. They're what keeps us free as we are now.